You see what I said about red flags? And that's real though. But again, like you said, sometimes for whatever reason, certain people might clock red flags, but for whatever reason, they still go ahead with that relationship. They still go ahead. I don't know. Is it like a thing where it's that some people might think like they might be able to change, like the other person? For example, if I meet you and whatever, and if I see red flags or vice versa, and it's like, if one of us still go ahead with it, it's like, why do some people still feel like, I see the red flag, but maybe he or she might change as time goes by? You know where I'm coming from? Why do you think is that? Because this is how some people get in, like in toxic relationships, isn't it? Because some people might see the red flags, but still go in the fire, like you said earlier. Why is that though? You get me?
Yeah, I think that's like the empath and the narcissist relationship. So the empath will always have that within them to want to heal, to want to help, to want to change. Whereas the narcissistic person doesn't have those qualities. They just have to drain that person of their energy, and it makes them feel good. So this is why a lot of people do think that way. Like, I want to change. I want them to, I want to make them feel good. I want to help them, because within them, they're not feeling good themselves. And that part that they get from that person that, makes them feel a little bit good.
A little bit good.
Yeah, they're hoping that they're going to get that back if they keep giving.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well.
Your podcast. How's your podcast going? And could you tell the people, the name of your podcast?
Yes, so my podcast is Let's Find You. So it's
Let's Find You. It's a cool name. Let's Find You. Yeah.
That's the whole point of the business, is to find yourself. So you embark on that journey of finding who you truly are. Let's Find You is doing pretty well. The podcast reaches globally. So
that's really good.
It's really popular in the States at the moment. I need more of my UK people to start listening to
tap in. Where could they go to listen? Is it like on YouTube?
It's
is it like on streaming platforms?
So all streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple, Google. You'll be able to listen to it there.
How long have you been going for? How long has your podcast been going for?
That is about a year old now.
Oh, just a year old?
Yeah.
And you've already had some good success with it?
Yeah.
That's
it
really,
reaches
really good.
pretty well, yeah.
That's actually good.
Yeah.
So you said you've got on YouTube as well, because for me, I consume most of my things on YouTube, innit?
Yeah.
And I want to check it out.
I do have a YouTube. It is something that I'm still working on. YouTube is the one that I'm like...
So many people say
that. I need to get there. But like my TikTok, my Instagram, my podcast, on the ball. But YouTube is another minefield to get into. Yeah.
I'm trying to crack that as we speak right now as well. It's just, they call it like a slow burn. One of my female friends, she always reminds me, like, just look at it as a slow burn, where it's like it eventually will start popping. And once it start popping, all of the work that we're doing all of these years, they'll be worth it. So that's the way I look at it. I think what puts off a lot of people, a lot of creatives, is like the results, innit? It's like if you're posting, I think it goes with any platform, innit? If you're posting daily or regularly on a certain platform and you're not really seeing results, it could be disheartening, innit? You could think, what, all of this, man, why am I wasting my time? But
you shouldn't give up. Keep going.
No.
We've all got to start somewhere.
We even got it here. Never give up, man.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, we have to start somewhere. So it's just gonna. The minute it starts getting out there and it gets shared, you're gonna keep growing. It just grow.
Absolutely, and you've got some. I have to say, Chantelle, you've got some very interesting titles. Like, I wrote down something here. Fuck the fuckboy masterclass.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. God damn. What's that all about?
That is when you get to that stage where you're just like, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. I am done.
Yeah.
When you're in that frame of mind where you're just like, I am done. Like, you say it, fuck it, I don't want to do it anymore. You're in that relationship that's just... Or you're not even in a relationship, you're in like a situationship, which is a relationship. Or you're just, you're messing around with the typical fuckboy.
Now, real talk, it's reality though. It's reality.
Men as well. Like,
yeah, of course.
Girl.
Yeah.
You just don't want to, do that journey anymore. You don't want to keep being picked up, dropped, treated like shit, and you're just done. That's when that masterclass and that program is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how, if anyone watching this and they are literally at that thing and at that time where they feel like, something needs to happen, how could they reach out to you in terms of like joining that class?
They can just, you can just reach out to me either by email, through Instagram, like everything's on my Instagram, through my TikTok. I'm accessible. Yeah.
And also another interesting title, BS Spiritually.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that all about?
So that one was a guest appearance on a different podcast.
Okay,
yeah,
cool,
so
cool.
Not my podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even going back to the work that you're doing as well, yeah, like for the ladies, do you have like a certain this might seem like a random question, but I think it's really important as well. You see, with the work that you do you have like a certain age group that you start with? Like, for example, like what's the youngest? Is there like a certain age in terms of like people that you work with, or you work with different ages?
I've worked with people starting at the age of 15.
15 going through what? What kind of trauma are they going through?
Yeah, just like, so they've got to, I think that was more like an ancestral thing, that cycle that they were carrying, and it was manifesting into things that were physical, so physical illnesses in the body. So it was working on, where that was coming from, so where the core wound of that was, and then breaking that and doing that mindset work to be able to change the mindset and change her energy.
Would you say that was like, that's your youngest person you've ever worked with?
That is,
yeah. And you see that for young people as well, yeah? You see that, sometimes I say, if you could do the work, like to prevent like future problems or whatever. Like, on a quick one before we even move on, like, what advice would you have for any young boy or young girl in terms of like, maybe needing to do a bit of work to themselves, whatever, like I said, to prevent any, some of these, traumas or some of these triggers moving forward when they get into intimate relationships or like friendships moving forward, you get me? Like, what kind of advice would you have for, like any young G's, you get me? Or even your daughter, like, make sure you do this, because if you don't do this later on, you might end up in a pickle, you get me?
It's you know what the core of everything is? Is self-love. That is the core. So practicing self-love and really understanding truly what it is. So if I used to be someone people would say to me, oh, you really need to practice self-love, or you need to, and I used to think, shut up. Like, it used to actually irritate me. But it's good because it was a trigger. It was something that I wasn't practicing. I didn't actually have it for myself, hence why I was able to slip into these cycles and do all the things that are
people pleasing, like you
said. Lack of boundaries, not understanding my own worth, doing things that just weren't healthy. So if I was to teach anyone from such a young age, it's learning to truly love yourself and have that respect for yourself and others. So you're not slipping into the point where you become like so self-obsessed. You don't want to be there. You want to be where you truly love yourself, your worth, and because you respect yourself, you're able to then respect others in the same way, so they reciprocate that behavior. And if it's not being reciprocated, to close that door straight away, because those boundaries are strong.
Because sometimes, like when you're young, because all of us have been young at one point, like we go through, some of us anyway, some people when they're young, for whatever reason, that mentally they're a little bit advanced in it. And also you get other people where it's like, when you're young, you're learning about yourself, about the world, you're trying to figure all of this reality out. And you get to a point where someone in your family or like friends might tell you about self-love. You might think to yourself like, what does that mean? And how do I even do that? What kind of things? You see how you've got so many different things, like how you can tell people how they can love themselves or whatever. But again, like I said, you've got some young people where it's like, they don't even know what to do, what type of things to do in terms of like to practice that self-love, you get me? Like, once again, for any young G, like, who might be thinking that, like, I understand, but how do I even start to love myself? What do I do? You get me? Like, what would you say to them?
I would say to them, like, I think when you're young, it's people will play that, string of disrespect because of your age. So that's like one thing that you can experience. So it's like, understanding that it doesn't matter where you are, whether it's a workplace, you know, a school setting, you know, family, friends, relationships, whatever, is understanding that when you feel disrespected, it's a trigger. So that is not something that you then move forward and allow to continue. You have to, you know, speak your truth on it, and tell whatever situation you're in that's not okay. And from there, that's where you really start to learn your worth, you know, by you not, you know, it's learning your worth, and it's putting boundaries in place, and it's removing that people pleasing. Because when that happens, sometimes you can be like, oh, I need to try and, you know, get some, you know, respect, because you've already been disrespected, so you want to gain that respect from that person.
You're
but actually,
literally.
Yeah, it's a no. They've shown you that. They've shown you who they are now. Yeah. So you speak on it. Speak your truth. Don't, you know, end up it becoming something that gets trapped in the body and ends up later down the line manifested as something you don't want it to manifest into. You know, speak your truth and say, no, that's not okay. You don't speak to me like that. And, you know, either that person takes that on board and changes, and if they don't, then you have to just shut the door. Yeah. Boundary.
You know what, yeah, this is gonna be a bit random, yeah, but you see that I'm gonna say this while looking at your daughter, by the way. Like, you're lucky, you know, like having a conversation, because basically, like, I don't want to sound like I'm too old or whatever, because I'm not old, whatever. I'm in my, you know, early 30s. But one thing I realized, and this is the good thing about, you know, breaking generational, you know, curses, breaking certain things, because like our parents, you know, obviously I don't know much about your parents, but if I'm going to speak about, you know, like my parents, you know, growing up, you realize like so many things that we're speaking about now, you know, so many things that, you know, the like parents like you that, you know, that are speaking about now, that our parents never had that information. You get where I'm coming from? Like, so a lot of us had to like go the hard way, learn it ourselves, this and that. But what I say, the reason why I say like your daughter's lucky, because she's got you get me? Like, you know, you've gone on this journey, you've healed yourself, you've learned about so many different things, and now you can pass it on to her. But obviously that's if she wants to take it in. She wants to take in that information and actually, like, you know, apply it within her life to a certain degree, get me? So I'm not gonna lie, you're lucky, man, because a lot of us like never had parents like these where it's like they've done the work. A lot of our parents were like stuck in their ways, innit? Because you know, like old school parents, you know how it goes. And it's like, yeah, me proper listening to you, I'm like, rah, like, your kids are lucky, man. Like, how do you, like, as a mother, like, how do you feel about the crazy times that we're in at the moment, we're living at the moment? Because once again, like, as a parent, I always try to look at how, you know, how the world is and all of these other things. I try to not think about it too much because I'll go crazy, innit? But it's just like, we can't deny we live in different times, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, with not even just technology, just the way human beings think, you get me? And it's like, you as a parent, like, you know, raising amazing kids, like, what do you think, how is parenthood basically, like, how is parenthood in these crazy times that we're living in?
I think with me, I had my kids really young. I was a teen mum, and to be fair, the first 3 children, so I've got 4 in total.
Big up all 4 kids, man. Big them up, man. We have to shout all of them out, you get me? Shout all of the siblings, even though we've got 1 here. Big up all the other 3.
The first 3 they grew up, especially my 2 oldest ones. My daughter who's here with me today, and my eldest son, they grew up with me. So they would have had the old version of me, and now they have the new version of me. And you see the change, because the way that I parent my youngest child now is complete opposite to how I used to parent them. And they speak on it. They speak on it massively. So just from that example, if you are a parent, do the work, because it's going to impact on your children and how they grow up and how they think and feel. Because a lot of our thoughts, behaviors, you know, things that we do, they're not healthy. It's not good. It's gone through ancestrally.
DNA. Our DNA is the same. So, like you said, sorry to even cut you. Like you said, if I don't break the traumas, like down the line, the chances are very high of my son or my daughter having those traits as well. And then now they have to go through this nonsense of like discovery of how do I heal my conscious and subconscious mind and all of these things. So it's like, yeah, it's true, man. But like I said, the exciting thing about life is like just watching people going through their own personal journeys, trying to deal with these things, innit? So it's, what can I say, man? Like, talking about again, like, what country does your dad come from? You said your mum, she's from Mauritius.
Yeah, she was
Like,
from
big up
Mauritius,
all the
yeah.
Mauritian people. You get me? Like,
Yeah, my
very
dad's
vibrant people.
Yeah, he was from the East End of London.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, big up Pops, man. Big up Pops as well. And would you say, like, are you connected to both sides of your family, or
No.
you're more connected to the Mauritian side of your family?
I'm not really. Yeah, so I do not have any connection with my English side of the family.
Okay.
And the Mauritian side, they're all in Mauritius. They're not. No one's here. So you know, if I take the children regularly to see the family, and you know, that's how we stay connected. Yeah.
How is again, this is some of these conversations for me and for people that might be watching to just learn, like I said at the beginning, innit, to learn more about you and where you come from and that. If you could tell us like one or two things about, you know, Mauritius people, the country and that, like how is it down there? Like what's the vibes? Obviously I got sent a picture, I think you was on holiday, and it looked like the Caribbeans. It looked like it was vibes, you know, it looked like it was good food, good weather, you get me? Like, yeah, how would you describe the Mauritian people and the culture?
Yeah, I think the culture, I think I've learned, is quite similar to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's paradise. The food is stunning. The surroundings is stunning, and the people are just happy. But I do think it's because of their environment and where they live. Like, we went last year for New Year, and when we landed back here in Heathrow, we went from vibrant colour, where everything was just stunning. Do you know what I mean? The sea just was glistening, the plants, the flowers, it was beautiful. And then you land back here in the winter and it's like grey. There's no colour, it's just, the trees are bare, it's like the complete opposite. So definitely it's worth visiting Mauritius. It is stunning. You'd really be happy. The music, the culture, the food, yeah.
Would you like to move there and like get to live there in the future, like to completely move back there? Because you know some people like to move back into the, you know, like in their countries and proper set up there. Would you like to move back to Mauritius one day?
I think about it. I think I'd like to spend, you know, part of the year there. I don't know if I'd want to live there fully. I used to want to, but no, I don't think so anymore. I'm happy to visit or stay a little while, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, quite. Hey.